Wednesday 1, Shrewsbury 0, another clean sheet. Wednesday's team news, a couple of little changes. The formation, folks, I still don't know what's happening. We've just got to accept it's a Frankenstein formation, and it is what it is. I'm starting to call it the ISH formation, the ish. Stockdale in goal, a back three-ish of Heckway, McGuinness and James. Right wing back Dominic Iofa. Out and out left winger Alex Martin. See what I mean? Ish. 4-3-3-ish. 3-5-2-ish. Backinson came into middle at Park in that deep line sort of holding player role. Bannon and Derbyshire in front of him. Big Smudgy Smith up front. And Josh Windass sort of floating round in the satellite role. Do you see what I mean? 3-5-2-ish. Iofa clearly a right wing back. Martin clearly a left winger. And at different times today it moved around a bit, and genuinely it depends when you were looking at what stage of the game you were looking, whether we'd got possession or they'd got possession, and which particular part of the pitch you were looking at. But 4-3-3, 3-5-2-ish. Reece James, I feel sorry for. And just imagine him, can't you, before game. What am I playing today, Gaffer? Left back, son. Oh, sound. And centre back. Left back and centre back. You mean left sided centre back? No, son. Left back and centre back. Thanks, Gaffer. Just sat here reading my notes, having a brew, and I thought, so I'll just like that. And then I thought, oh, cat, and I reached down to stroke cat. It's me bleeding hat. Interesting start to the game, because they're actually having a bit of ball, Shrewsbury, and obviously been looking at their results and where they are in the table, and I thought their left wing back's their top scorer. He's got like 3 or 4, and I thought, God, these must be crap. Then look at table, the 14th. I'm like, hang fire, I can be crap and be 14th. But then when you look at it, very good defensive record, just can't seem to put ball in back in net. And again, it'll come back to budgets and who they can get in and this out of there. And it'll also come down to Steve Cottrell and his style of play and what have you. In fact, that delayed kick-off, I won't be surprised if that was something he'd managed to engineer. I know it sounds far-fetched, but that's how I think about it. Yeah, they had a bit of ball first 5 minutes. They've got that, is it Leahy? I don't think it's a Gaelic name. Nice left foot he's got, and they were using it quite well. But Martin did a daft little back flick, nearly put him through after about 5 minutes. Derbyshire had a bursting run. And yeah, first 5 minutes, could be an open game here. And then it weren't. 15 minutes into the game, Backinson, lovely ball. Windass gets inside. Looks like he's going to pull trigger and get it away. Fantastic tackle by Dunkley. Who I gather hadn't missed hardly any games for them, if any at all, apart from Cup. He's had a very good game today. A very good game. Winning his headers, winning tackles, blocks, but he looks better on ball than he ever did for us. I think it's about finding a place where you're comfortable, aren't you? And obviously you come into a struggling Wednesday team with Monk under fire and threat of relegation and all that. I'm not sure he ever recovered. He had one very good spell when he were winning loads of headers last season. But at one bit, Bannon seemed to be finding his head with every corner, but his injury record and his injury woes caught up with him. But he had a good game. What am I banging on? Anyway, great block as Windass were about to pull trigger. Now these are dropping off. They're dropping right off. And when they lose ball, they're playing a 3-5-2, but it's sort of 3-4-1-2. They've got a kid floating about in all. But as soon as they lose it, one at strikers is dropping off. Kid in hole's dropping off. Fullbacks are dropping in. So it's like a 5-4-1. And they're not really entertaining trying to win ball in hard half or even halfway line. They're just in. And it's all clogged in there. You've sort of got three midfielders in there and then attacking midfielder and one at strikers dropping in, and it's an absolute... You could chuck an hoop over about 8 players in there. It's right tight. And I think that's the reason why he put Backinson in midfield today, because he's in that deep line role, but he is a bit more of a ball player. You know, you play Volks in there and he's like a proper defensive midfielder. I think we'll see Volks play more away from home. Home games, Backinson. Yeah. And there has been a bit of chopping and changing there. I'll have to check that up, actually. Has Backinson's games mainly been at home? I don't know. But I think that's what he's doing. When we're at home, we're going to have more at ball. I think that's why he's put him in for Volks today. But very congested. And when it's congested, that's when you've got to have your players who use the ball really well, really smart, quick, sharp, ideas players. And it was a dogged performance from Wednesday. But after 10-15 minutes, when you saw the sort of game it was going to be, I was thinking to myself, this is a game where you need judge bias. This is a game where you need judge bias. Like Derbyshire, made a couple of 2 or 3 long busting runs today, nearly scored, and he's got that dynamism that he brings to play. But when they've got all them men back, you need that bit of cuteness and two-touch George for me. You need somebody like him who can unlock. And similarly, up front, I was a bit surprised that we had Windass up there with Smith. I like Windass, works hard. Probably our only forward player with any genuine pace if you put him in a striking role. But with them so deep, can you have somebody who's going to get in behind like that? I don't know. I thought in a game like this, when it's really clogged up and you're just looking for that bit of cuteness, I just thought maybe Gregory might have been my pick for today. It weren't a pretty game. Martin did well. Martin was playing as a left winger. It might have been 3-5-2, but he was playing as a left winger, and I'll not be told otherwise. One really good burst. Sometimes, I think I've said this last week, sometimes I think his feet's too quick for his brain, his legs are too quick for his brain. But really good ball into the box. And Windass made a great run sort of towards him. It just goes with outside at right boot. And I'm just thinking, can he sweep his left foot around it? Do you know what I mean? I think if he can sweep his left foot around it, I think he gets a connection. I think he probably gets a shot on target there. But Wednesday starting to pile pressure, 25 minutes, half an hour, but having all up ball really. And Bannon is pulling strings again. And like I talked about before, with Backinson and wanting a player like George Byers in there, Bannon was like the epitome of the sort of player you need in a game like this, because little cute 1-2s, little balls round corner, little threaded passes, probably 5 or 6 quality threaded through balls that Bannon's done today that probably deserve something a little bit better from him. But just a frustrating game. You know, some teams, they're just going to come and close us down because they know we're going to play out front back. They're going to close us down in areas like Barnsley did. They come and they really put us under caution. They played 3 up front and really squeezed us from Stockdale playing out front back. These have done it other way today. These have just sat off and went, all right. It was like a bloody shield wall with Vikings, weren't it? All right, break through this, lads. And that's when you need that bit of cuteness. As we're going into half-time, Wednesday just seen nearly all at ball, to be honest with you. But we're struggling to make that breakthrough. It's 2 or 3 good passes and then final ball. And to be fair to them, they were getting a footing. The left-sided centre-back, whose name escapes me, he had a very good game. He got nailed about 4 times in second half. I'm surprised he stayed on pitch. Dunkley had a very good game, as I've already mentioned. And that Morales is not a bad keeper. Made a really good save from Windass and one from Derbyshire end at first half. So tough game, frustrating. Wednesday starting to pile on, but it's just that thing of can we break through? And for that possession we do break through. It's a bloody set piece. Left hand side, front at cop. Bannon swings it in. McGuinness splits front pack. making that run towards corner at 18 yard, and it's an absolutely brilliant glancing at her back into far post, or at north-east post, if you like. Keeper nowhere near it, fantastic header. And it was one of them games where you thought, oh, maybe it's going to take something like that. It was either going to take a really cute pass or something special, or a 30-yarder or something. And as it were, it was a set piece, and it settled nerves a little bit going into break, because, as I said, Wednesday were dominating it during that spell when we got that goal. And I think half-time stats were something like 65% at ball we'd had, but only one goal to show for it. Don't know why I always start recording when I've got a dry throat. Anyway, drink. For all that domination going into break, absolute heart attack moment just after break. Backinson almost on byline, our byline, not theirs. Stockdale's coming racing out, then he's like, oh no, what are we doing? And he tries a little bit of fancy footwork, and it's like, you're absolutely shit, he said. Matt. Darren Moore once was playing out from back, but even he'd have been saying, fucking hammered it. Do you know what I mean? It was one of them, like, what are you doing in there? Did get act away, but it was one of them that after the event you realise, oh, I haven't been breathing for the last 2 minutes. Shrewsbury don't get the shot away, their first shot on target, first shot away till about 50 minutes. Ball into the box, McGuinness oofs it away, but it comes down, it sits up right nice for their lad. Comes in, swings left foot at it, and he catches it well. Probably too well. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but straight down Stockdale's neck. If he'd got a little bit of swaz on it, I do wonder if he might have been better hitting it on half volley. I just think when you get half volley, you can get that. I think you can get that power that it's hard to get on the actual volley. Actual volley, you're always trying to dip it back down, aren't you? You're always trying to make sure you get that topper on it. But I always think with half volley, you can sort of come across it and get that. Not that I wanted them scored, obviously, but just saying, as it dropped down to him, I would happier it would have volley than an half volley. You haven't got a clue what I'm on about, have you? Windass nearly extended lead, cut inside from left-hand side, curled one, 30 odd yards maybe. Couple of yards of it, post and bar, but it all started with a fantastic run from Reece James, and that's the other thing. When you're playing a team like this, who's they've got numbers behind ball, they're making it very difficult for you. The man marking, they've got people in spaces blocking angles and lines out. Sometimes you've got to change numbers game in there, haven't you? Reece James gets ball, looks up. Now, he can toss ball forward into there, can't he? And it's just like a scrap, innit? You know, like chucking a biscuit into a crowd of dogs. You know, you don't know who's going to win it. It's up in air. But by getting ball and driving in, he makes one of them make a decision. One of them's got to come out from the pack. Drives in, knocks a little ball out, and then, like I said, Windass gets inside, gets that shot away. But it comes from James. Oh, I really like him. He's had a really good game today, Reece James. I said probably the first couple of times I saw him out, I really like him because he's got a balance and he's got a natural calmness about him. In fact, I said that in the Peterborough game, I can remember it because I was on about it before, saying, oh, lovely lad, he brings a balance, very calm, level-headed, and then he got sent off, didn't he, with high foot. But I still believe that, and I think he's starting to show it. Now he's having a run of games in team. I think we're seeing the best of him now. I think he's growing into it. His position today, I think, probably sums it up with him about how well he copes with it, because it was a 3-5-2, but it was fluid, and he was getting forward down that side, and it was also allowing Mighton that freedom to really get forward and try and support attack. Although he's been a bit hit and miss today, young lad. 65 minutes Wednesday, good little spell. They're very frustrating, these. Second half, they squeezes a bit higher. They're having a bit more of a go at it. Obviously, we've got the goal lead, so they're a bit more at it. They're pressing a little bit, and there's these few sort of air-raising moments when Wednesday are playing out from back. There's one really good spell. It's really intricate, like down left-hand side. We're playing some really nice stuff, but it is crowded. And then Bannon just finds a big switch ball out to the other side. And Iofa does really well. Bombs on towards byline. Knocks a really good cross in, and their defender just gets there in time away from, I think it was Windass. And he's had a decent game today, Iofa. I want to talk about Iofa actually. Now, he had a bad start to the season, but he spent most of last season out. Then he come back in. It takes you time to build up your match legs, doesn't it? You know, and Gaffer talks about building up volume in training, but even that is not the same as playing out on park. You know, no matter how much training you do or practice games you do. But as well as that, there's the mental side of it, innit? When you've been out injured a long time, you've got to build your physical strength back up. You've got to build your burst power back up, but you've also got to build your understanding back up. When you've not been out there on park, and you haven't got all that in front of you, you're not used to making them passes under pressure with a full stadium and opposition coming in and rain driving in your eyes or what have you. And he's took a lot of slagging because and I'm sure he'd tell you himself, he had a nightmare start to the season, kept losing his man with them headers, and it probably cost us 3 goals if we're being honest about it. And whilst I'm not saying I think he's back to what he was when he won Player of the Year other year, I do think there's signs this last 3 or 4 appearances that he's starting to build back up to what we know that he can be. I'm not saying he's there yet, but I think he's building back up gradually toward that. One of their lads nearly scores an absolute bullet header on goal. Bannon's on the right hand side, cuts inside, whips a right left-footed crossing. And I don't know what he's trying to do, because if you'd have set at half, surely you want him to head it that way. Although I've got a feeling it with a midfielder, that left-footed lad I ran about before. You've got to be heading it that way, haven't you, or back way it's come. He's sort of, I don't know what he's trying to do, but it would have been like almost a mirror of McGuinness's goal, but better. That just flashed wide at post. Keeper gave him a bit of a berating for that. 2 seconds later, Smith gets up. It's a lovely ball from Backinson, who I thought were looking quieter in second half. Actually, I might have made a change earlier if it were me, but he did clip a really good ball. Smith broke offside trap, round back stick, got up. I can't decide if he's heading that for goal or whether he's trying to head it back across for somebody else to come in, and it ends up being sort of a little bit of neither. Heads it across and down. It's beat Marossi though, and it's got enough spin on it and with slick surface, and I just thought, is it going to curl in? Not quite enough to curl in, just wide at far post, but it was that sort of chance that you just thought, if anybody's gambling there or chucking themselves at it. And that was sort of chance that if that cross goes there and Smith's going up for that header, I think if Gregory's on park, we him being such a box sniffer like that, I think he'd have read where that header were coming back across. I think he'd have been in there. Speaking of strikers, I was quite impressed with their lad up front, Sadie, I think they called him. To say they've come here and defended for 95 minutes, and he spent half of his time chasing shadows and knackered him, ran him sending to the ground actually. I thought the few times when he did get ball or a decent ball into him, because they were going quite long at times, I thought he looked like a useful player. I really did, and I thought, I don't know where they've got him from. I don't know if he's there on loan or whether he's there permanently or whatever, but I thought he'd be a sneaky little bit of business in for somebody. I thought he were a useful player, playing for a team that's struggling. And I know they're struggling to score goals, and you might look at me and say, well, fucking buy a striker from a club that aren't scoring goals from. But you can have a good player in a team that's not scoring goals. You can have a good striker in a team that's not scoring goals if that team is set up for all 11 players to defend for 90 minutes. But if he goes into a team that does attack, that does put delivery into the box, does come out their own half, then I think you'd see a different side to him. I'm sure his name was Sadie or something. I'll keep my eye out for him. I thought he would a useful player for them. Last 20 minutes is tough because they start pressing more. Like I said, first half, I won't say they were passive, not like Forest Green passive, Gordon Bennett, but they were in their half. They were like, right, we're defending here, break through. Second half, a bit more snappy into tackle, closing us, nearer to halfway line, and forwards were pressing a bit more on our back line. Last 20 minutes, they were really trying to close us down, and they've put a rate shift in them. I won't say I feel sorry for them because Wednesday's won and that's all I'm bothered about, but for work rate they put in, I think they'll be disappointed that they've gone away with defeat, but they could have shots on goal, haven't you? And the last 20 minutes, I think they sort of twigged that, and they did. They started closing us down a lot more up front, putting us under pressure at back. And they probably had 2 or 3 shots in the last 20 minutes where it was a little bit, like that, because kid cutting on left hand side, no challenge by the way, cutting onto his left foot off at right, curled the shots at back stick, just caught it wrong. If he got his instep on it, I think that'd have beaten Stockdale on that, what I call northeast back stick. And he sort of skanked it, got a bit of toe on it. Then another lad, very similar thing, same area as well, to Stockdale's right hand post. And then even Dunkley, he got an header down into the floor that would have been a bit of a let off, and all. That last 20 minutes was a tough watch. Dug in, and this is what I was on about last season. These sorts of performances where you're dominating teams, you score a goal, but you don't polish them off, you don't finish them off. They can come back and bite you on the arse, and they did that a lot last season, which frustrated the hell out of me, especially when balls getting shelled in box and folks were, nashing headers and whatever. We've addressed that. McGuinness today and Heckway I thought absolutely superb. McGuinness will get more credit because he's obviously scored goal and a couple of really big blockbuster challenges, and fans always like to see that, especially on slippy surface. But Heckway's blocked one on line again. He's took one in his bollocks again today, about look at it, or just above. And he's won so many headers today. But like I said, him and Reece James, they just quietly get on with the job, don't they? It's meat and drink stuff, but you've got to do that in this division. We didn't do it last season. And these sorts of teams were causing us problems at times, I like your Heckway. Unassuming, just head, tackle, block, head, tackle, block. Just done that all afternoon today. Really, really like him. And McGuinness, he's done the same, but obviously his quality on ball. January, that's all I'd be focusing on. I'd be like, is there any way we can get this kid in permanent? Don't know what situation is at Cardiff, but he's got that quality. He's an higher level player. He's at least Championship, and he's a young lad. I think he can play in Premier, no problem. Mate, but he just keeps building like this. Could we get him? That's what I'd be working towards. I hope he's not got a recall in January. I don't know what terms of his loan deal are, to be honest with you, but magnificent today. Head, tackle, block. And with Darren Moore wanting us to play out the way that he does, he's so comfortable on ball. He's got an ease, and he's a young lad. He's only going to get better. But I'd be doing anything I can to get him through the door in January, mate. Honestly, I really would. Whether we can, I don't know, but if we can't, we've got to at least try and keep him to the end of the season. And honestly, I'd like to see him and Heckway just playing in a 4 all time. They know what they're doing. They just look really solid together in there. Really impressed with them too. 10 minutes to go though. One of the best tackles at game. Michael Smith. Sort of in right back position. I can't remember exactly what he's doing there, but he gets back. Right good tackle. Sets Wednesday on attack. And it's all from the hard work. And he's worked his bollocks off today, Smith. I've seen he's getting a lot of, hammer about not scoring enough goals, but he's doing another job for the team, isn't he? His work rate phenomenal for the big lad. Sometimes it can be cumbersome, can't they? And he's always adding channels, holding the ball up, getting pulled all over its show, winning headers, winning flick-ons, and there were several stages today when he was dropping right back into midfield and winning the ball and trying to win headers and stuff in there and helping out in there. He's got a great work rating. Now, if you want him to score more goals, people clearly do, then I think you've just got to say, right, just stay up there and just play it with the 18-yard box and just wait there. But can you afford to do that in this division? I mean, we'll look at Jordan Rhodes. Jordan Rhodes would have scored goals for Wednesday if we just said, just stay there between 18-yard, between posts in 18-yard box. You just stay up there, son. But you can. In this day and age of football, I don't think you can afford to do that. You stay up there and other 10 will do all graft. I think games change slightly from that. So, I mean, we could do that with Smith, attempt that and get people around him, because he can actually up ball up. There's the difference with those two players. But he's doing a job for the team, very hard working, and these last two games, Wednesday, both 1-0 wins. Not the prettiest games in the world, but everybody's got stuck in. I don't think there's a player on park today that hasn't put a tackle in. And you can't always say that, but could say it today. They've all put a challenge in. They've all put a tackle in. They've all won an header. And we're getting tough to beat, which is what teams have always tried to do to us. Heckway made a really good block. Like I said, they're piling on. Pennington, that was him. That what led it back. Useful. He had a curler. Again, and it was that same far post area again that they were trying to get in. He had a good effort in there, but a Heckway, that last 5-10 minutes, head, tackle, McGuinness. You can't do it for 90 minutes, obviously, because you can't play like that every week. Eventually, you're going to get caught out, but really solid pair of them. And Heckway made another great block actually down there, and then he got nailed, and it were a bloody high tackle from there. Like sub had come on, Pike gets a yellow. I think he's a little bit lucky, to be honest with you, because it looked like he'd gone right over it to me. It were late, and it were above ankle high. It were right in shin, and can't afford to lose Heckway at this stage of the season. Look, for me, all's back now, isn't he? Back in training, but still don't want to lose him. Great game, great block. But shitting his head in that last 5 minutes, though. But like I said, Wednesday, becoming one of them teams, we can do nasty stuff. I never thought I'd say it, honestly. I've had such a soft underbelly for so many years, but really good. Hard to watch. At times, a little bit like watching England under Sven Eriksson, when you were like, oh God, come on. But defence today, superb. Man at match. Well, it'd have to be somebody out at back four or Bannon. Like I said, I thought Windass and Smith worked really, really hard. But I don't actually think we got that much quality into them. I was talking to some comments on video last week. Somebody was saying, "Oh, we're having all ball, we're having 100 shots or whatever, but we're not scoring." But I was saying then there's a chance, and there's a chance, isn't there? And I don't think we're really getting them clear-cut chances. Like Windass has had that 30-yarder just off at bar, and Reece James has had a 35-yarder, but now they'll count as attempts on goal. The reality is neither of them was probably ever really going to test goalkeeper. So funny things starts, aren't they? It's chances and there's chances. I don't think we created that much. Horrible game, really. Niggly game. And like I said, they'll be pleased, Shrewsbury, because I thought they put a very good shift in, and they did make it very hard for us. But Bannon were really good. His passing, but it'd have to be somebody out at back four. I hope look as good as he's looked this season. Really like Reece James and that balance he brings, and the fact that, like I said, he looks like he looks like the sort of player you could play him anywhere on park and he'd do a job. Heckway, I thought, were really good again. Like I said, just get something job. Bannon's passing. If we were going to get a second goal, it were going to be a pass from him. I thought he were really good. I do think this sort of game, though, when you play a team like that, just highlights. I said at the beginning, it just highlights how much you need a George Byers in there, quick. Reminds me of Kieran Lee with that. He's always a move head, dink, dunk, 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 pass and goal, pass and goal. McGuinness though, really good goal. That's not easy, that, when balls come in and like that, to get up and back over there into back stick. Won his defensive headers, won that attacking header. Some really good blocks, strong tackles. A couple of really big crowd pleasing slide tackles and all. Everybody loves them, don't they? And just like him and Heckway, I just thought they were really strong. Yeah, James, Bannon, Heckway. But yeah, man at match, Mark McGuinness, he'd have to be. Because he's been really good today, but then he was really good last week, and he was really good before that, and he was really good before that. We've got to, I've said it before, he would be my absolute priority in that transfer window in January. If there's any way that we could get a deal together for him, that's one I'd be, chasing up. If not, end at season minimum. Quality player. So other results: Ipswich 2-0 away winners at Exeter. Other games that affect us: Peterborough, they dipped 1-0 against Bristol Rovers. Here's the interesting one, and I said this other week, I said they couldn't keep it up all this time. Plymouth drawed in 2-2 at Burton, 97th minute equaliser there for Burton. The veteran down there, Mariappa, scored that one. And let's have a look what that does to the table. Plymouth still top, but 43 points. Ipswich second on 41, and there's Wednesday, 40 points, plugging away. 9 points ahead of Peterborough and all. Honestly, we're in a fantastic position. I keep saying this, good goal difference, plugging away, nicking points. Obviously some people aren't happy. 1-0 against Accrington Stanley, 1-0 against Shrewsbury. 6 points. 6 points, 2 clean sheets. I'll take that every week. Has it been prettiest? No. We can play pretty football, and some teams will allow us to play pretty football and we'll score 2 or 3, sometimes 4 goals. And that's great. Enjoy them days when they come. But against clubs who are smaller than us, smaller budgets than us, who've got to find out a way to try and get a win or a result, teams who come and sit off with 10 behind ball, or teams that come in ratting and kicking ankles, you've got to find a way to play them, and it looks like we're doing it. And if that means ugly 1-0 wins to go with the thrilling, dashing football we can also play at time, great, because that's the best way to play football, isn't it? To take them blends, take them little bits. Yes, we can play nice football. Yes, we can play and counter. Yes, we can dominate teams with passing. But when it comes to it, we can also do the other side. We can head, we can tackle, we can keep clean sheets, we can block teams out when we're not playing brilliantly ourselves. So 1-0 against Accrington, 1-0 against Shrewsbury. They're tiny clubs, we should be battering them. Wins, clean sheets, keep adding them up. Plymouth slipping, Ipswich having a couple of wobbles. We're well placed, we're well placed. Cup next week, so something to take his mind off the stress of the league anyway. And before that, it's World Cup will be starting in about 10.5 hours. But although that sneaked up on me, I've not really gone into it so far. There's no bunting up or out, no flags, don't care. But well, most important thing, Wednesday, 3 points, and we're catching up.